In a significant remark that is bound to reverberate through both diplomatic and political circles, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, declared on November 27, 2025, that the administration of US President Donald Trump is not worthy of engaging or cooperating with the Islamic Republic of Iran. This statement was made during a speech that followed an escalating series of tensions between the two countries, which have only grown in intensity under Trump's tenure. Khamenei's comments are not just a reflection of the long-standing animosity between Tehran and Washington, but also serve as a condemnation of the US approach to Iran under Trump. The rhetoric, coming from one of the most powerful figures in Iranian politics, adds yet another layer to the complexities surrounding the Iran-US relationship. While Khamenei's words are sharp and bold, they also come at a critical time. The Iranian government has long maintained a firm stance against what it perceives as the destabilizing influence of the US in the Middle East, particularly in relation to the nuclear deal and sanctions. Khamenei's remarks echo a sentiment that has been a cornerstone of Iranian foreign policy since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, that the US cannot be trusted as a reliable partner for peace or diplomacy. At the heart of Khamenei's critique is the US administration's approach to the nuclear issue. After President Trump pulled the United States out of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, in 2018, Tehran has repeatedly accused Washington of undermining international agreements and disrupting global stability. Khamenei's statement, however, is more than just a critique of Trump's actions. It is also an indication of Iran's broader stance on the United States' role in the Middle East. Under Trump, the US not only pulled out of the nuclear agreement, but also imposed a series of harsh sanctions on Iran, targeting its economy, banking sector, and key industries. The maximum pressure campaign was designed to force Iran into renegotiating the terms of the nuclear deal, yet it failed to achieve the desired outcome. Instead, it pushed Iran to become more defiant and determined in its pursuit of nuclear advancements. This was the context in which Khamenei made his recent declaration, reinforcing the view that Trump's policies have irreparably damaged any potential for cooperation or dialogue. In his speech, Khamenei further underscored that the Trump administration's conduct was not just a matter of policy, but one of character. According to the Supreme Leader, the US government has shown itself to be unworthy of dialogue with Iran because it does not adhere to international norms or respect the sovereignty of other nations. This sentiment is familiar to many in Iran, who see Trump's unilateral actions as emblematic of a broader Western tendency to impose its will on the global stage without regard for the interests of other countries. Khamenei's remarks are also a direct response to the growing international pressure on Iran. In recent years, the country has faced increasing isolation, particularly from Western powers, while Europe has expressed some support for the JCPOA and has attempted to find ways to bypass US sanctions. The international community as a whole has largely failed to come to Iran's aid in the face of US pressure. For many in Tehran, this has only served to reinforce the notion that Iran must stand firm against the West and pursue its interests without reliance on external assistance. In the broader geopolitical context, Khamenei's comments are likely to further strain relations with the US and its allies, particularly in the European Union. The EU, which has attempted to maintain some semblance of dialogue with Iran following the US withdrawal from the JCPOA, may find itself caught between two increasingly hostile powers. The European bloc, which has voiced concerns over Iran's nuclear program and regional influence, faces a delicate balancing act. On one hand, it seeks to avoid further escalation with Tehran, while on the other, it must also heed its strategic partnership with the US. Iran's position is also influenced by its regional ambitions. Over the past few years, Tehran has expanded its influence across the Middle East, with a particular focus on Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon. The country has also been involved in Yemen, where it supports the Houthi rebels in their ongoing conflict with Saudi Arabia and the UAE. For Khamenei, the struggle against US influence is not just a matter of nuclear policy, but a part of a broader regional rivalry. The US and Iran are locked in a battle for dominance in the Middle East, and each side's actions, whether in Syria, Iraq, or the Strait of Hormuz, serve as a reflection of their strategic interests. At the same time, Khamenei's words come amid ongoing protests and unrest within Iran. The country has faced widespread dissatisfaction with its leadership, particularly over economic conditions exacerbated by US sanctions. Inflation, unemployment, and a shrinking economy have all contributed to mounting frustrations among the Iranian public. For many, the government's foreign policy, particularly its focus on anti-US rhetoric, is seen as a distraction from the country's pressing domestic issues. Yet, Khamenei's speech signals that the leadership in Tehran is unlikely to shift its focus away from its rivalry with the US, even as it grapples with internal challenges. The Trump administration, for its part, has shown little willingness to engage with Iran diplomatically. Trump's America First policy has been characterized by a focus on national interests, often at the expense of multilateral agreements. Under this policy, Iran has been portrayed as a threat to global peace and stability, and any potential for dialogue has been overshadowed by sanctions and military posturing. The US approach has also been marked by a lack of consistency, with President Trump frequently contradicting his own administration's policies, further complicating the prospects for a diplomatic resolution to the ongoing crisis. In contrast, Khamenei's rhetoric emphasizes resistance and defiance. He positions Iran as a country that will not bow to foreign pressure, particularly from the United States. This stance has won Khamenei significant support within Iran, especially among hardliners who see the US as the principal source of instability in the region. At the same time, it has deepened the divide between Tehran and the West, making any future rapprochement increasingly unlikely. Looking ahead, Khamenei's comments are likely to influence the trajectory of US-Iran relations for years to come. The Trump administration's current strategy seems focused on maintaining maximum pressure on Iran, while Tehran is resolutely pursuing its own path, undeterred by sanctions or diplomatic isolation. For both sides, the path to de-escalation seems increasingly fraught with difficulty. The US election in 2024 may also play a crucial role in determining the future of this strained relationship. Should a different administration come to power in Washington, there may be a shift in approach. However, given the deeply entrenched animosities and the ongoing power struggles within Iran, it is unclear whether any new administration would be able to significantly alter the dynamics of the relationship. The international community, particularly those involved in the JCPOA negotiations, will be watching closely as the situation evolves. As it stands, Khamenei's statement is a clear message to the US and its allies that Iran is unwilling to engage with a government it views as disrespectful and unworthy of cooperation. Whether this hardline stance will result in further isolation for Iran or force a shift in US policy remains to be seen. However, what is certain is that the US-Iran conflict is far from resolved, and tensions are likely to remain high for the foreseeable future. As the world grapples with this ongoing geopolitical struggle, one thing is clear: the battle for influence in the Middle East and the broader global stage will continue to be defined by the clash between the US and Iran. Khamenei's words are a reflection of the ideological and political divide that separates these two powers, and they offer a glimpse into the future of their fraught and complex relationship.